Alright, so you've watched all the YouTube videos, you've started invading, you're climbing the ladder. You're becoming a proficient invader. What is your brick wall? A lot of people will complain about 4v1s. That's what this video is going to be about. But before we break down 4v1s, let me first talk about what I consider the most difficult invasion, and that is the 3v1. The 3v1 to me is more difficult because you know there's no backup. 3 people that want to just sit at a bonfire, that's the hardest type of invasion for me to think of personally. And then, you depending on which weapon matchups or magic matchups you hate dealing with most, that's where it can get more difficult. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about 4v1s. Let's talk about getting rid of a phantom quick. Or a host quick. I've always said, kill the host while they have phantoms, because they'll make stupid mistakes. Now, here's a perfect example of that. The X on the screen represents my position, obviously. We know the host is coming to my position. When the host gets to my position, I want to no longer be there. I want to be behind them and backstabbing them. Because of latency, we make this happen. Now, if you want any more backstab tutorials and that kind of stuff, you have to check out Project Goof. The dude has like a new series where he's going over like how to do backstabs, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. That is just a really quick rundown on a really easy backstab you can pull off, and it manages to kill the host while they still have a phantom, while the host is still feeling brave, like a badass. You know what I'm talking about? But let's go to the 4v1, right? Here's my issue with that. There's no such thing as a 4v1. If a host has 3 phantoms in their world, barring some sort of glitch, there is a dried finger active, which means there's another invader. If there's another invader in the world, then you don't have a 4v1, you have a 4v2. Whether or not you're the first invader or the second invader in the world, that's an important thing to distinguish. That's one of the first things you want to notice. Are there already blue spirits in the world? If the answer is yes, then there's already a dark spirit there, be it a mound maker or another red. Because someone had to be there for the cops to show up, right? The cops don't just show up, before the burglar, invades. They show up after, right? Same thing with reds. If you see a blue spirit already in a host's world, you know for a fact that there was already an invader there. So you know you already have backup. If there's not a blue spirit, and you just see a bunch of, sunbros or, white spirits, white phantoms, then you know another invader is on their way, if not already in the world. This goes back to one of the first things I talked about, which was make sure you see the party before they see you. Use the obscuring ring, get a look at who you're fighting, who you're dealing with. If you can see what weapons they've got, are they going to be spellcasters? Are they going to be using poise weapons? If you can get a gauge on that as well, great. But if nothing else, at least check and see how many people you're dealing with before you run into the invasion and start fighting. Now, there's going to be some situations where that's easier said than done, and if that's the case, then you just sort of have to let it go. You're just going to, maybe you lose, maybe you win. Try again next time. Another great thing about a 4v1 or a 4v2 is the party's using the dried finger, which means their invasion timer doesn't go all the way down. Now it does slow down a bit after 2 invaders, but it doesn't entirely dissipate. So there's a good chance that you could get back into that same world and re-invade the same host. So all the work you did still is there. They've still, they're still missing the Estus you took from them, right? So this Red and I, the game we're playing right now is basically Fortress. We're holed up in front of the Crystal Sage, in front of that Scholar, there's an army of thralls right there, and there's the curse hands. And we sort of hold up right there. That was like our fortress. That was where you were going to have to, like, if you wanted us, you're going to have to take that little spot, and they just couldn't do it because they never mounted a full-blown, like, attack. All 4 of them never attacked us at once. That's what you want. You want to split people up. A lot of times they'll split themselves up because these sorts of tactics sort of go out the window. They don't think about them, and they just sort of kind of go on like autopilot. They think that the game's still going to be easy because they've got the numbers advantage. So if they're not employing these types of tactics, then this is an easy thing to win because they'll split themselves up. But what about people that don't split themselves up? We have a much better invasion. This is an honest-to-God 4v1. So in that last invasion, you saw me and the other red. We sort of holed up. We made a little fortress, and we said, "All right, you guys are going to have to break this choke point. If you want to beat us, if you want to get further in the level, you're going to have to hit this choke point." Now they could have flanked us because there's 2 entrances to that choke point, but they didn't do it. Like I said, they were kind of on autopilot, and it just never occurred to them to just fucking bum rush us, which was the correct answer, or flank and 2 take us from one side and 2 from the other. But hosts, phantoms, you have to remember, most of these guys play this game on easy mode. You can get away with doing some stupid stuff. You can climb a ladder in their face. If a host or a phantom tried to climb a ladder in your face, you would absolutely punish them for it, right? But these guys, they don't have to know every nook and cranny. They don't have to know how to win every sort of encounter that happens. They're just playing this game like through the level or whatever, right? So you have that to your advantage. A lot of these guys will let you get away with doing some stupid stuff. So there's 4 of them. They're playing through the level. This is what we want. This is like the best thing. Now we see this guy here. He's obviously a parry spammer. He's using the crow quills. He's throwing stuff at us. We have a shield that's easy to shut down. Let's let all 4 of them show up. Now they feel brave. Now they want to take they're going to take the staircase up, and I have to deal with the 4 of them, but I'm going to use the scholars and the wax and all that to my advantage, right? I got those 2 guys in a pretty good R1 blender. That's enough damage. I'm done. You don't have to dig yourself in at every opportunity. Know when enough damage is enough. This guy here, he went for the parry. He missed it. That allowed us to get the runaround backstab. There's 2 gargoyles up here. There's 1 farther over. Now I could have gotten that 1, but he's a little out of the way, and that would have meant 4 people on me with 1 gargoyle with no exit. As opposed to over here, I have 2 gargoyles and 3 potential exits. This is the better position. So I'm going to take my verticality, and then I'm going to separate these guys. So we managed to get the kill there. Wasn't even my intention. Just wanted to push them off the edge with that Astora's Greatsword charge. Happened to get the kill. That's a bonus. Second Phantom Wonder's over. Also low on health. Managed to get another kill. Double bonus. And all of a sudden, this 4v1 has become a 2v1. And this is what invaders deal with all the time. And I've still got 5 Estus. Score. So now, as long as we don't do anything stupid, like, I don't know, take 5 Crow Quill R1s to the face without parrying, we should be pretty good, right? Let's recap a little bit, though. We used the verticality of the level to get that nice plunge attack in at a desperate moment when a gargoyle joins the fray, and we used the Astora's Greatsword charge weapon art as a tool to separate the party. Everything worked out great. Shit gets hairy. I make my escape, Silvercat, and I just drop down, and we'll run around the level, and we'll meet these guys on the other side. No big deal. But this gives me an opportunity to talk about go back a couple videos, and I put a video and I was talking about tools and how you should use your weapons as tools, right? So the Astora's Greatsword is fantastic with that charge attack at pushing people. It knocks them down. any weapon that will knock them down, any sort of like charged R2 or anything like a weapon art with a spear or weapon art with an Astora's Greatsword. Know your weapons and know what you're using, and think about ways you can use those weapons and those tools to separate your opponents, because that's how you win. You don't win a 4v1. You win smaller 1v1s, and it's your job to make them the 1v1s. You dig? Hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. Later, y'all.